There is a moment in human history that almost never happened. You, me, everyone you've ever known. We almost didn't exist. Not because of war, not because of disease, not because of anything we did, because of a volcano. Let's go back. 74,000 years ago, humanity is already ancient by this point. We've been walking upright for millions of years. We've spread across Africa. We've made tools. We've buried our dead. We've started to think, but we are not many. Estimates vary, but the best guess is that the entire human population at this moment is somewhere between 10,000 and 100,000 people. That's it. All of humanity, spread across an entire continent, would fit inside a small town today. We are fragile. We don't know it yet, but we are incredibly fragile. On the island of Sumatra, in what is now Indonesia, a geological clock is ticking. Beneath a lake called Toba, magma has been building for hundreds of thousands of years. On a Tuesday, we don't know which Tuesday, it stopped building, and it released. The eruption was not like anything a human being has ever witnessed in recorded history. Not Vesuvius, not Krakatoa, not Mount St. Helens. Those were firecrackers. Toba released 2,800 cubic kilometers of material into the atmosphere. To put that in perspective, the eruption that destroyed Pompeii released about 4 cubic kilometers. Toba was 700 times larger. The sound alone would have been heard across the entire planet. Ash fell across South Asia in a layer so thick that archaeologists still find it today. In India, in Pakistan, in the Arabian Peninsula, 6 inches deep, preserved under the ground 74,000 years later. A 6-inch layer of ash from a single day. The sky turned black, not for a week, not for a month, for years. Sulfur dioxide shot into the upper atmosphere and reflected sunlight back into space. Global temperatures dropped, some scientists believe by as much as 10 to 15 degrees Celsius. A volcanic winter, lasting years, maybe a decade. Think about what that means for the humans alive at that moment. No sunlight means no plants. No plants means no animals. No animals means no food. The forests disappeared. The grasslands died. The rivers changed course. The coastlines shifted as water locked up in ice. The world that humans knew, the world their grandparents had known, the world they had learned to survive in, ceased to exist. And they had no way to understand why. One morning the sky just went dark, and it stayed dark. The cold came and didn't leave. Everything they ate started dying. Across Asia, where some human populations had already begun to migrate. Silence. Archaeological sites that showed human activity before Toba. Tools, hearths, bones. After Toba, nothing. For thousands of years, nothing. Some researchers call it a gap in the record, others call it what it was, an extinction, not of humanity, but close. Geneticists noticed something strange when they started mapping human DNA in the late 20th century. We are too similar. Every other large animal on Earth, chimpanzees, gorillas, tigers, even common sparrows, shows far more genetic diversity than humans do. We are genetically nearly identical. If you take 2 chimpanzees from the same forest, their DNA will differ more than any 2 humans from opposite ends of the earth. That is not normal. That is a scar. It means that at some point in our past, the human population was reduced to an almost impossibly small number. A bottleneck, a squeeze, a moment where almost everyone died. The number geneticists keep arriving at: as few as 1,000 breeding individuals, maybe 10,000 people total, maybe fewer, 1,000 people, to carry the entire genetic future of the human species. Where were they? The best evidence points to a narrow strip of coastline in East and South Africa, far enough from Toba that the ash was lighter, close enough to the ocean that food was still available. Shellfish, sea urchins, crabs, whatever washed up. These people, our ancestors, every single one of them, survived by eating from the beach, living in caves near the water, small groups, maybe a few dozen per group, maybe less, not farming, not building, not conquering, just staying alive, day after day, season after season, watching the sky, waiting for the sun to come back. It did come back, slowly, over years, then decades, then generations. The volcanic winter faded, the ash settled, the temperatures crept up, plants returned, then animals. Then, cautiously, the humans began to move. But they were different now. The diversity was gone. Every human alive today carries the DNA of those survivors. Only those survivors, every adaptation, every disease, resistance, every trait, every face, from that group, from that beach. What happened to the humans who were elsewhere? The ones in Europe, the ones who had crossed into Asia, the ones in the Middle East, gone. We don't know exactly how. Starvation, cold, the collapse of every food source. They left no descendants. They left no memory. They are in no one's DNA. They simply ended. The scale of this near miss is hard to hold in your mind. If those survivors on the coastline had failed, if the shellfish had run out, if a drought had hit, if a disease had swept through a group of 50 people huddled in a cave, the story ends there. No ancient Egypt, no Rome, no language, no music, nothing. The planet continues. Other animals evolve. Maybe in a few million years, something else becomes intelligent. But us? Gone. We would never have known we existed. This is what makes the survivors remarkable. Not because they were heroes, not because they chose anything. They just didn't give up. They couldn't. They didn't have the option to understand what was happening to them. They just kept eating shellfish, kept having children, kept waking up, and generation by generation, the group grew. And eventually, tens of thousands of years later, their descendants walked back out of Africa and filled the world. Every human population on Earth today traces back to that coastal group. Every face, every language, every tradition, every belief system. The people who built the pyramids, the people who painted in caves in France, the people who crossed the Bering Land Bridge into the Americas, all of them, descendants of the shellfish eaters, the Toba survivors, all of us, children of the ones who held on. There's one more thing. Geneticists who study this are often asked the same question. Could it happen again? Another Toba, another supervolcano? The answer is yes. Yellowstone, Campi Flegrei in Italy, the Taupo system in New Zealand. All of them capable of eruptions in the Toba Range. All of them active. All of them building. Not tomorrow. Probably not for thousands of years. But the clock is ticking. It ticked before. We survived. Barely. Whether we'd survive again, with 8 billion people, with global agriculture, with the cities built on coastlines, is a question no one can answer. What we know is this: survival is not guaranteed. It never was. The sun went dark for years. 1,000 people held on, and here we are.